When it is all said and done, who is going to be remembered as the greater Kiwi fighter? David Tua or Joseph Parker? Parker is still only 27 years of age. You would have thought he's still definitely in his physical prime. But because of how the first phase of his career went, the way he lost his title in what's probably going to remain his most significant fight of his career against Anthony Joshua, we don't hold that much faith, including myself, who is a Parker fan, in terms of how he's going to do. I can't really see him winning another belt as the top three heavyweights, theoretically, eventually, face each other. Now, David Tua is really remembered, of course, for his chin, which is probably even better than Parker's, despite Parker having a great chin, but more so for his power. That is something that stayed with him when he went up to world level. That's a key distinction between these two guys. Because when Parker was coming up, he had very fast hands, but he was taking guys out. He seemed pretty dynamic and dangerous in the early days. When we were seeing him coming up, we were thinking, this guy could really maybe take Joshua out, could start mincing people up. But as the competition started to increase, that power wasn't having the same effect. Now, because Tua had those great ingredients that are essential for heavyweights, power and chin, a lot of people say, you can end things in the heavyweight division with one punch. All heavyweights can punch. Not all heavyweights can punch. Someone like Tua had oodles of raw power as well as a genuinely great chin. And for that reason, even when we do fantasy fights against the Mike Tyson, people still favour Tua at times, even though he never really made it at the world level. He, of course, has that really satisfying first-round knockout over John Ruiz, icing him in about 20-30 seconds. A lot of people love that because Ruiz went on to, of course, bore us so much. But the one thing they really have in common, both Tua and Parker, of course, is they both lost to British fighters, happen to be heavyweight champions of the world, undisputed in Lennox Lewis's case, where they both lost decisions in what were generally pretty poor performances by the respective Kiwis. I think the slight difference is, though, is that Tua, his performance, while disappointing, he tried to do it his best. It was more of a technical issue with Tua. He didn't have the tools or quite the fitness to really get in there. I think with Parker against Joshua, it was more of a mental thing. He didn't really like the idea of sacrificing his positioning to get in and taking a few to make something happen. I think a lot of people know that. And that's why, for me, it was a little bit more sour. It turned into a sparring session, and he didn't do what was needed to make something happen. Tua tried to, I think, against Lewis, but just didn't have the tools to do so. And I think people will remember that slight difference. Also with Tua, his most impressive performance might be actually his loss against Ike Abiyabuchi, another kind of mythologized guy who, of course, went away. He kidnapped, I think, part of his family or something like that. He was a tremendous fighter at one point, and in their 10-round blockbuster, I think they threw the most ever punches for a heavyweight fight in 10 rounds. And sometimes when I score that, I even have Tua winning, so that was an awesome performance by David Tua. Loads of punches thrown. Back then, he had his weight down more, great inside fighting, and when he whipped that left hook in, it was like, man, he was like swinging a lead pipe. It had serious weight behind it. Parker's never really shown me anything like Tua did in that Abiyabuchi fight that's that impressive. He's shown speed, he's shown bits of power, he's shown grit, certainly, against Dillian Whyte, but I've never seen it all come together. Now, you can blame Kevin Barry a little bit, a trainer who he shouldn't still be with. He should have someone else who's really reinvigorated his skill set. He's not going to get rid of him, but that's how it is. But of course, the effect is that we have a guy who really hasn't tried to reach his potential in terms of what we saw in the earlier days. Because of the fact I don't have that much faith in this second phase of his career, I'm not sure how he's going to go about it. Maybe Chisora, then maybe a rematch with Whyte, but again, I can't see him really getting a belt again, unless one of them gets fragmented and it's for a vacant one again. So as things stand, I could see why people still rate David Tua above him. That might remain the case when it's all said and done. Parker needs to get on with it and confirm his next fight. What do you think, though?